There's a lot you don't know about the client's perspective when hiring a general contractor. Hey everybody, I'm Mike Claudio, owner of WinRate Consulting and host of the Big Stud podcast. Look, hiring a general contractor from the client's perspective, it can be very overwhelming, create insecurities, and create challenges and expectations that you can't meet. You have to understand where we're coming from as the client. Look, I got into selling remodel work with no experience in the industry, so I came at it from only the client's perspective when I started selling, which gave me a certain level of empathy, which means seeing things from the other side of the table, seeing things from their perspective, that allowed me to be successful. So I want to share some things with you today that you may not be considering when building out and understanding and following your client experience. So as the consumer, we are getting multiple points of input: HGTV, DIY, local neighborhood groups, next door, the crazy neighbor. We're getting a lot of different feedback and pushback on what we should be considering and what we should be looking for and what we should be doing and what we should be spending and what kind of projects we should do and what kind of features we should have. So as the consumer, you're getting a lot of inputs. And then on top of that, when you go to interview or meet with, let's say, 3 to 5 general contractors, everybody's process is completely different. So it is incredibly important for me to know ahead of time of what to expect from you. So one of the things that I teach my clients to do is a pre-email between the qualification phone call and that first in-person meeting. Help me understand what to expect from you when you get here. Because I'm gonna have a plethora of ideas, expectations, concepts of what I think you're gonna do when you get there. 99% of the time, it's not going to line up with what you're actually prepared to do, which means you're already starting off on the wrong foot, and me as the consumer doesn't know any different. You may be the perfect contractor following the perfect process, but if my expectations aren't met, you are letting me down, and that's not fair to you or me as the customer. Beyond that, you have to understand that every contractor has a different way of presenting their information. Some people do long format, paragraphs with pricing. Some people do per unit pricing. Some people break it out by trade. Some people break it out by room. You have to understand and ask the consumer, how do you want this proposal laid out so that we can make sure that you're getting an apples to apples comparison? Because when I sit down and I get 3 different emails from 3 different contractors in 3 different time frames, I may have forgotten to tell one of them something. They may not have clearly defined what is and is not included. I may make assumptions of what is and is not included. And now I'm comparing 3 completely different written, completely different formatted, completely different outline proposals with 3 different numbers that are typically wildly ranged. Look, as the contractor, you believe your pricing is right. From the consumer, if I got 5 quotes, one's gonna be way down here, one's gonna be way up here, and 3 are gonna be somewhere in the middle. And it's like, how can the same project range from $45,000 to $110,000, and these 3 people in the middle are like still broken up by 15 to 20 grand? That's overwhelming from the client's perspective. So it's super important to understand that and have a more empathetic and communicative process around how to deliver the numbers. Make sure that you're consulting them through the process. Look, they're not always going to choose you, regardless of what you do. But if you take the extra effort to consult me through my decision process, understanding what my priorities are, understanding what my background is, what am I looking for, what am I trying to avoid, you can help guide me to the best decision for me, as opposed to somebody else who just comes, meet with me, collects some information, and throws a number at it. So understand that I'm overwhelmed as the consumer. I don't know what I don't know, or I believe I know what I know and I'm wrong, but I don't know that, right? Like, there's plenty of people who are overly educated with improper information. I see this a lot. So like what they got from HGTV or what they got from their neighbor or what they heard from their parents growing up, they might feel educated, but they're probably improperly prepared for the project or the decision. So walking them through what they need to think about, walking them through how to do an apples to apples comparison, walking them through how to create a scope so that all contractors can bid equally is all part of what we don't know. I've been saying this for years because people get somewhat overwhelmed from the contractor side about what to share, what not to share, what to do, what not to do, because they don't want to like push or pull the client in a direction. But understand that if clients knew everything you knew, they wouldn't need to hire you. So come in as the expert, come in to guide the conversation. They're not looking for order takers. They're looking for a consultant of somebody who can help their vision come to life for a budget range that they're willing to invest in the project. You also have to understand that this is a project that I've been thinking about saving for and considering for probably years. If you're doing any projects in the six figures on the remodel side, that's not something you just wake up on a Tuesday and say, hey, let's invest 150 grand in our house this weekend. No, it's something they've been thinking about for a while. I see a lot of contractors that carry the weight of the day into that client meeting. They're not excited. They're not looking forward to it. They're overwhelmed. They're frustrated. And they just carry that into that sales meeting or that client engagement meeting or that project update meeting. And now this client who's super excited about this concept and has been preparing for it for years and been saving for it for a decade, and now you come in unimpressed, unexcited, tired, frustrated, short, whatever it might be, you're not representing and matching the excitement I have, which really limits my ability to feel comfortable hiring you. Because if you're not excited about my project like I am, why would I think that you'd be the right one to deliver it? So understand how that looks and how you sometimes look. You got to fake it, right? You got to fake being excited sometimes. If it's just the same old kitchen, you've done 1,000 of them so far in your career, that's still the first time for that person. That's still a huge investment for that person. Me as the consumer wants to know you're excited about my project just like I am. So think about that as you're presenting, how you're guiding them, the client experience from the first time you talk to them to the last time you follow up. You have got to match their demeanor and match their excitement, because it allows me to build a certain level of commonality and trustworthiness in you as the contractor that you can support my vision. I'll leave with this. There is no two client experiences that are identical. There is nothing ever that's 100% of the time in sales. You have the human element. It's always different. You can say the same thing to 10 people and get 7.5 different reactions. Appreciate that, but know going in that you need to do a very good job understanding who I am, what is a priority to me, what I'm dealing with, what I'm afraid of, what I'm excited about, what I'm looking forward to, how my decision process works, so that you can guide me and match me in my process. If you try to force me into a hole or force me into a square or force me into your process, you're going to miss some of your